Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about one of my favorite brands and my first mini palette from that brand. I have quite a few Natasha Denona products in my collection, and when I saw this mini come out, I was really excited to get it because I have the bigger sizes of the other minis that came out. So like, I don't have the bigger Sunset palette, but I just didn't really gravitate toward wanting that palette, so I never bought it. But I have the bigger Star palette, so I didn't buy the mini Star. And then there was another one that came out, and I, again, believe I had the big mini Lila. I have the bigger Lila, so I didn't want to buy that mini because clearly I already have it. So when the mini nude came out, I don't have a bigger nude palette. I have the gold palette. I don't think these were in that. I don't have just like a big Natasha Denona nude palette. I don't know if one is coming. I'm unsure if these shades are duplicates at all. I'm gonna have to check into that, and that's something that I would put into my blog post. I do have the Camel palette, which I had thought upon seeing Mini Nude that it kind of looked like camel, but when you hold them side by side, you can tell that there's really not a whole lot of similarity there. I did swatch them both, which you'll see after my review and then before I do the tutorial, because I did do this look, and that'll be at the very end. This mini palette has 5 eyeshadow shades in them. They are a mixture of 2 metallics, 2 mattes, and 1 duochrome. The matte shades are Soil, and also, I didn't say it well in the tutorial part either, Quuioin. Quuioin. The duochrome is Sienna, and you have Lumino and also Bronzage for your metallics. Bronzage is listed as being a chroma crystal light copper. Quuioin, the one I can't pronounce, is gold. Lumino, pearl. Sienna, matte terracotta. And Soil, it says medium transition nude, which I personally do not use that for my transition. I would use that one. But I mean, if you were going for a darker look, you could totally do that. This palette retails for $25, whereas the bigger 5 pan, which you can see is much bigger, retails for $48. The bigger palettes tend to run in the 120s and up, depending on what you're getting. There's really big ones that are like $250, I think, $220 something. So it can get pricey. First off, the quality of Mini Nude I am super impressed with. I find it to be on par with the quality that I find in some of my favorite palettes for her. I love the Lila palette. I loved the Camel palette that I showed you here, and I'll link a review below for that I did on my blog. I also loved the Star palette, the big Star palette. And honestly, all of the ones that I've purchased from her, the gold palette, oh my god, that one and Lila are my 2 favorites, but that gold palette is so stunning. It was for holiday. I will also link that below so you can check out the review on that. I'm unsure if it's still available. It was limited edition, but it is beautiful. One thing that is important to note is this matte shade Soil. When you first swatch it, it's kind of dry and it comes off like it's going to be super sheer and patchy, and I didn't find it. Obviously, I'm wearing it out in the outer part. I didn't find to have any sort of problem with applying it. And I used, what brush? I used a blender brush to kind of like apply it in and blend it because I didn't want it to look too severe. And it turned out to be even more pigmented than I thought it would be. So that really impressed me in terms of performance because I wasn't expecting it to be that great. With the metallics and the duochrome, I was also really impressed that they are beautiful even when worn dry. Obviously, wearing them wet will amp up the metallic factor and make them a little more in your face. But I have Lumino dry at the inner part, and I don't feel that I needed to use it wet or even with a sticky base. I thought it worked beautifully. The other ones, like especially the duochrome, you're going to see more of the duochrome because it's got this bronzy copper base, but has a golden olive like shift to it. And you'll see that more if it's wet, but you can still notice it when you use it dry. My thoughts on Camel versus Mini Nude, I mean, clearly they're not, if you have Camel and you're into neutrals like I am, then $25 for Mini Nude I feel is worth it. If you don't often use neutral shades or you feel that you already have enough, maybe you don't want to spend the $25. I think Camel, though, it's, I mean, it's hard. I can't even really categorize that as nude or warm or cool or warm. I think that it maybe leans more warm-ish, but this one definitely is much more warm than this one, so that's something to keep in mind also. If you're cool toned, you may be able to pull off Camel, whereas this you might have a harder time. I think that both these palettes together, like if you were to put them in a nude palette, you could put all these shades in the palette and then maybe like a matte color that is just cream, or maybe something like that but matte, just for the all over thing, so I wouldn't have had to bust out my Tartelette and Bloom. I've actually noticed with all of my Natasha Denona palettes that I really don't have that color in a matte, and I'm unsure why. And that's personal preference. That is something that I just personally like to have versus not having it, because why would I want to pull out another palette? I mean, this would be so travel friendly if it had like the 6th shade with the matte problem. You would literally need no other palette. And then imagine these two being together and having like an actual antique-y light gold and maybe like a fun, colorful metallic. I think that would be so beautiful. Now I'm just gonna get onto the swatches and the look for you, but at the end of the day, 25 bucks for this palette. I think I wouldn't exactly call it a steal. In terms of Natasha Denona pricing, then yes, this would be a steal. This is a great way to try things out. And I think that it would be a good addition to your collection if you are in need of some beautiful metallics and high performing matte neutrals. It would be really simple just to toss this in your bag and have an all over just matte look, and then use your finger and dip it in Lumino or really any color and just tap it over top. Like if you're running somewhere from work or school or anything, you just want more. Super simple to do with this. So now I'm going to go on to the swatches and then the eye look. Those are both going to be really quick sections also. I hope this was informative for you. If you're not interested in the other stuff, then I will see you next time. If you are, stay tuned. First off, all I did was, as usual, I applied the Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer, and then I did that thing. I'm not sure if this video is going up first or the other one, but I do a thing where I just take a dark liner. The other one I used was from Bobbi Brown. This one's from Stilazzi. It's called Jet, and it's just black. It's not super saturated, but it's black. And I kind of just line the upper lash line super close just to aid me in drawing my liner. First off, because the Mini Nude palette does not have any sort of matte brow bone shade or creamy type matte shade or anything like that, I'm just taking my Tartelette palette. This is Tartelette in Bloom. It's one of my favorites. You can tell it looks so gross. And I'm just taking the shade Charmer, which is right here, and I'm putting that all over the lid. And I'm just kind of pressing just to kind of give me a little bit of a base. I don't do this every time. I don't know, do you have to do something like that every time? The first shade that I'm going to take will be like the transition shade. I go kind of above my crease like that with it, but it's this shade right here. It is called Quoin, Quoin. Let me know, because I don't have a clue. I'm going to take that just on a blender, and all I'm going to do is, like I said, use that as a transition. I do add a couple layers of this because I keep bringing it up. And again, not something that I always do, but for this, I'm going to do that because originally I was going to try for a pretty neutral look. And then, like I said in the review, when I swatched that darker shade, Soil, it didn't swatch as well as I would have wanted. So I wanted to end up using that. So my look got, I mean, it's still really not dramatic, but it got more dramatic than I had originally intended. Now I'm just going to take Soil, and this is a Decay blending eyeshadow brush. I think I got this in a subscription box, but I'm just going to tap that into Soil. One of the reasons I did this is because it did swatch so sheerly, I kind of just wanted to see what it would do. And I mean, you can see the finished look. I'm pretty pleased with it. It ended up working well. But I start at the outer corner. It doesn't apply perfectly right away, but it blends nicely and it builds well. So, and I haven't tried it with a bigger, firmer brush yet, but I think with that, it's going to give better pigment. And then with that, I'm just kind of pressing it and rubbing and blending. This rubbing is not a good word to use for shadow, but I'm blending a little past the center of my lid. Not the whole way in, because I actually wanted to use that duochrome, but then I saw a YouTuber and then another YouTuber and then another YouTuber all use that duochrome shader. So I wanted to try and be a little different with it. After that, I'm just going to bring it up into the crease a little bit, and I open my eye to bring that up a little bit more. Now you just take that same blending brush that we did the transition shade with, and I just blend that out a little bit. Now I'm just taking this brush from Luxie Beauty. It's one that I got in my BoxyCharm. It is a mini flat angled, and I'm just pressing that into soil, and I put that along the lower lash line. Now I'm just taking the brush that I used, this all over color for Charmer. I'm not putting anything else on it, and I'm just blending that out. Next, I'm just taking a flat shadow brush. This is a MAC 239. I'm putting that into Lumino Dry. I'm just putting that in the area where I didn't put soil. And I'm just patting that. And I'm also putting it like at the inner corner. Then I take the tip of it and also dip that in Lumino. And I put that under the eye here. Now all you want to do is go back into the blender brush you used for soil and just kind of push that over. You don't want it to super harsh. And then I do the same with my blender. And that is it for the eyeshadow. It is a really quick, simple shadow look, and I kind of love it. For eyeliner, all I'm doing is, I didn't want it to look too super harsh because like I said, I did want a more neutral look. Oh, I don't like when that gets skewed. Because of that, what I did is I put Urban Decay Demolition on the top, and I just made like a really little wing, nothing super serious. And then I put Lucky on the bottom waterline. Now that my liner is on, I just go in with 2 coats of the It Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. I do 2 coats on the top and I do 1 coat on the bottom. That is all for my look today. I hope that it was useful for you. You know, again, I think that $25 for this palette is an excellent deal if you're looking to try out Natasha Denona eyeshadows. Clearly sizing is quite different. It is $25 as compared to, I think, like $48. So it is a great way to try it out. I think you're gonna love it and probably end up wanting that also. I will have both linked below. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that these mini palettes are worth it, or would you rather just spend the extra $22, $23 and get the big size? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.